Be excellent to each other. And party on, dudes!
Suzanne, you're all that I wanted of a girl. You're all that I need in the world. I'm your child, make me blush, drive me wild. Suzanne, you're all that I wanted.
Hey guys, Mr. Google here to review Lincoln, directed by Steven Spielberg, and I'm not reading the cast off, because that is a huge cast. Now, I was of course looking forward to Lincoln because, it's Abraham Lincoln. I've always, found Abraham Lincoln to be one of the most interesting political figures in American history, and he's always been one of the coolest people to learn about. Seeing Daniel Day-Lewis play Abraham Lincoln, I thought that would have been a great idea, and this movie has gained a lot of Oscar buzz and, a lot of high anticipation, and it's gotten great reviews. I didn't think this movie was all that great. I thought it was a good movie. It's definitely not a very, disappointing movie. It is disappointing, but it's not as disappointing of a political movie compared to like J. Edgar, because I was way more disappointed with J. Edgar because that was just a mess. But this is a good film. It's a solid film. I wasn't in love with it, and I'm really sad to say this. Now, to get Daniel Day-Lewis's performance out of the way first, I'm going to talk about that first. Yeah, it's a great performance, alright? It's a terrific performance. I've seen better performances throughout the year. I think, there's been more versatile performances from actors like Matthew McConaughey in Killer Joe, Denzel Washington in Flight, and especially Logan Lerman in Perks of Being a Wallflower, and especially Joaquin Phoenix in The Master, which is just a groundbreaking performance all on its own, and he honestly deserves to win the Oscar. But, Daniel Day-Lewis is probably going to win again for his performance in this. And, yeah, he was great in the movie, but if you say that his performance in this was better than his performance in There Will Be Blood, you're wrong. You're just plain wrong. And I don't want you typing down there, being angry at me, disliking my video, and saying, oh, that's just my opinion. No, if that's your opinion, you're an idiot. Alright? That's just an idiotic thing to say. His performance in There Will Be Blood is one of the greatest performances ever. I don't think that's really that weird of a thing to say. A lot of people agree with me on that. But Daniel Day-Lewis, yeah, he was great. To get the good things out of the way first, I will go into those first. I will say that Steven Spielberg did a great job directing this film. He's a great director. He's one of the best directors, in cinema history. And he's made fantastic movies in the past, like Jaws and Raiders of the Lost Ark. And Catch Me If You Can is very underrated. I love that film. And, this I would never put in his best. This is honestly, one of his weaker films that I've seen. It's a good film. It's very well shot, alright? The cinematography is very good. It's not some of the best cinematography I've seen of the whole year, but it's a very well shot, well cinematography-ized movie. That sucked. Alright, it had great cinematography. The acting all around really is great, except for a couple people. Like, I thought Sally Field was really over the top, and that's going to be a performance that's probably going to get her another Oscar nomination, but I don't know. There's something about her just really over the top in this movie. But going on to the good parts, Joseph Gordon-Levitt's in this movie. He has a little part in this movie as Abraham Lincoln's son. He's good. He's always good. He's never given a bad performance, in my opinion. Tommy Lee Jones is getting so much buzz for this movie, and I was really excited to see him in this movie. And I really don't agree with any of the buzz I'm hearing about him. Like, what he did in this movie was really what he does in everything he's in. He always does that really weird, like, comeback to like young people, and like Lee Pace plays one of the asshole lawyer in this movie, and the way he would always like come back at him with like this weird witty comeback, it came off as like really cheap laughs. And like Tommy Lee Jones was good in the movie, don't get me wrong. It's just his performance never screamed Oscar worthy in my opinion. Like, ew. I was really more surprised by, the other supporting players like Michael Stuhlbarg, Jackie Earle Haley, and especially James Spader, who was really, really good in this movie. And they're really overshadowed by, the Tommy Lee Jones and, Daniel Day-Lewis But I thought they were all really good. And John Hawkes, who's one of my favorite actors, right now, he's really good in this movie too. The lady who played the slave of Abraham Lincoln, Gloria Reuben, I thought she was very good. She was actually really, really good. And yeah, that's really all I have to say about the performances. The things that I have wrong with this, the pacing is atrocious. The pacing in this movie is really slow, because a lot of it felt just really repetitive and really redundant, and a lot of it felt hollow and just like, we get it, alright? It's just, a lot of the scenes in this movie just felt like really bad courtroom blabber, like we've heard like a billion times before. I mean, some of those scenes are very interesting, especially like near the latter half of the film. Not all of it really felt even. And yes, this movie is like 2.5 hours long, and it really didn't need to be. Also, this movie has like so many endings. I counted like 8 or 9 different endings to this movie, and then the way it ended was just weird. And I don't know, man. I've always really loved, the story of Abraham Lincoln, but really it wasn't the story of Abraham Lincoln. It was the story of how he tried to get the 13th Amendment passed. And I think I would have rather liked a movie, chronicling his life rather than having a movie based on this, because it's kind of false advertising calling the movie Lincoln when it's about the 13th Amendment. But I guess that's how you sell tickets. Marketing ploy. It is a messy movie. Fans of Spielberg are just going to see this movie and they're going to be like, oh my god, Spielberg does it again. He never does anything wrong because he's a god. I have the balls to say Steven Spielberg, doesn't always turn out perfect stuff. Alright, this isn't a perfect movie by any stretch of the imagination. So if you're just one of those naive film fans, fanboys, who just follow everyone who likes Spielberg, you have to analyze these movies better, alright? I don't care. I know I might sound like a prick, but you really need to analyze these movies better. It's not a bad movie at all. It's a solid film, but I had a lot of problems with it. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. It's not a bad movie, but it is, it's a solid film. That's all I really have to say about it. I don't agree with a lot of the Oscar buzz it's getting, but, give it a chance. You have to see it for Daniel Day-Lewis. He gave a really great performance, of course. So I'm Mr. Google. Don't forget to ski cap, subscribe, and I'm out.